Check, check, quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
Hey, I hear you loud and clear, Coach Jay. But a happy Monday
Happy
and
Monday.
celebrating the word that begins with T,
The
it
T
appears.
word, the T word, the tariff word. Welcome everyone to At the Buzz Hour Market Recap. If this is your first time here, the goal of this segment is to review what happened in the markets for the day. We may talk about some markets that you have not traded before, but we believe our goal as traders is to identify opportunity, see how we could have taken advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. If this is our first time meeting, I'm Coach Jay. I've been a top step performance coach since June of 2023, trading for the past 13 years and in the futures markets for the past six. And that is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Coach Paul. I've been with since April of 2023. I've been involved in the futures trading industry for 4 decades. I'm here to share some of my experiences, perhaps some knowledge, and hopefully assist you into becoming a better trader.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Coach Paul. And you're all our audience. Hopefully, everybody had a good weekend, good start to your month. This is the first trading day of the month. And what a day it was. What a day it was. We will talk about it. Let's get into the news first. And again, planned news versus unplanned news. Which one takes the cake? And right now, it is the unplanned news. We did have S&P manufacturing PMI and ISM manufacturing PMI numbers come out. The S&P number 5.27, actual forecast was 51.6, and the ISM manufacturing came in at 50.3, forecast was 50.7. Again, that is all taking a backseat to the unplanned news. Every headline, tariff headline that we have come out, we can see, the president was talking later in the day, pretty much talking all day about tariffs. The tariffs for Canada and Mexico are supposed to start, I believe he said tomorrow, and the market responded to that. Uh, Trump signed an action to tariff China at 20%. So that T word is being thrown around again. We've seen it be thrown around and then delayed, right? So we'll see when they actually go into effect. But the markets are listening, and every time it says it is selling off. These markets are not holding a bid at all, and uh, you know, looks really good if you're selling it.
Well, Coach, you scroll down again on the news.
A
Okay,
lot of red there.
that all we read is tariff talk.
Yep,
Now we'll look at the chart. It's all red.
all red.
So if you're going to trade headlines, there's a pattern for you. The market doesn't want to hear about tariffs. Doesn't want accept it because historically, and this is historically, tariffs are really bad for world trade. So that's all I'm going to say economically. But on the news front, as you were scrolling, I was just seeing that red as red candles, every one of them. But
Yep,
like, so why did it go down? Hmm,
more sellers than
Probably
buyers.
more sellers than buyers. So let's begin.
Let's get into it. Kenny Harris, I sent you a message in the YouTube chat. You can let me know how long you've been trading. We can respond to it. There are 35 different markets that we can trade with Top Step accounts, not just the equities. Today, to the downside, we had the Russell down 2.36%, corn futures down 2.82%, and micro Ethereum futures, our biggest percentage mover to the downside, at 3.67%. To the upside, we had micro Bitcoin up 2.6%. If you look at that chart, that was all the gap. Platinum up 3.38%. Shout out to whoever called out platinum during slow markets last night. And natural gas up 8.16% for our biggest percentage mover to the upside. Uh, you talk about our big four. We had crude oil down 1.98%. Got some news out of OPEC
OPEC
Plus
plus.
about crude oil. Sent us into a really sharp sell-off. We had the S&Ps down 1.51%, gold up 1.94%, and the Nasdaq, our biggest percentage mover in our big four, down 1.91%. Uh, All right, and to Kenny Harris, I didn't see how long you said you were have been trading for. I really do want you to since November. Okay, since November you've been trading. Been able to take out 450 bucks, and we'll get into the markets in a second. But I just want to answer this. Since November, you've been trading futures. You take out 450 bucks. Since November, that's about 5 months, coach. I'm assuming, Kenny, from your response here, that entire 5 months is your trading experience, unless you tell me that you have more than that. Uh, to make $450 in that amount of time, if that's all the time that you have, you're doing pretty good. Uh,
I think he was saying he spent $450.
is that what it was? Okay. Uh, Either way,
Yeah.
if you're 5 months into this, and everyone's going to have different expectations, you're 5 months in. You know, I think you're doing well. Uh, from what I could say, if you're still learning, it is might not like to hear this. Many people might not, but uh, if you're still learning how this game works and how you can make trading decisions, it's really not your time to start thinking about money. You're gonna have a long time to do that, but you need to be able to figure out how to make repeatable decisions, where your results aren't random either to the upside or the downside. Um, there is a lot of information that you're gonna hear on Topstep TV, right, where we have many different traders trading a bunch of styles. What I would say is find one person that you resonate with and follow how they make decisions, not following their trades, follow how they make decisions, right? You should see, and when we talk here, you're going to see that we repeat the same things literally every single day because that's what I want to base my trading decisions on, whether they are wins or losses, right? The process, how I get to making a decision, should come first. The results, the money comes afterwards. But if you want to stick around here and learn how we trade, we'll be here. Uh, all right, coach. I got anything you got for Kenny?
Everything you said, but I'll add one thing. Um, get to know yourself first. Um, start with risk management. Figure out what kind of personality you are, and follow people, take pieces, and execute. But it also comes to a time is like, I can't do this. And that's all right. It's not easy. I quit trading for a year. I was
Yep.
like, and in that year, I kept studying. By the way, I lost mm, 10 times at least of what you put in my first 6 months
At least.
of real money of like size. And you hear Mike Patak saying he had to give away $90,000, $30,000 at a shot. This is not, I want to bring this up. This is not for overnight success. It's when I first had my successful year, I said, wow, it took me 10 years to have a
Yep.
great year. What I mean, great year was like a really good year.
Right, right.
Worth it. I made, but it doesn't happen. Um, someone just said education comes with a fee. Yeah, there's an education here.
Yep.
Tuition, there's a tuition. This might, and by the way, this is kind of cheap tuition,
Yeah.
but it depends on what your goal is. If you're looking to make money tomorrow to pay your bills, don't do this. I'm going to say it right now. Don't do it. If you're looking to build a skill over time that you can be rewarded in multiples, then keep at it. And number one, it becomes literally it's you against you. It's much like golf. So those are the things you have to weigh. Either one's okay. But understand that this takes a lot of time. Um, like I said, it took me a long time. I would make big money and go, this is friggin' easy.
Soon
Like I
as you
said,
say
I'll
that,
take
soon as you
I'll
think
take
it's
the
easy.
red Lambo. Uh, okay, then, but it becomes a process. aiming at consistency. But I won't. No one here will bullshit you that it's just going to happen overnight. So hope that helps you.
Awesome stuff, coach. Not trying to get rich, Kenny. And you're retired. I have plenty of time to trade. Awesome. And if you paid out $450 so far, that's great. What I will say is don't keep throwing money at a solution or at a problem and thinking you're going to get a solution just doing the same thing. The beautiful thing, and I love that you're here at Topstep learning how to do this because it's not going to cost you a whole lot. Like Coach Paul said, I've lost a ton of money myself as well trying to figure this out without a prop firm, um, where the cost of entry is a little bit lower, right? That tuition cost is a little bit lower. It can increase though, right? If you just blow money on resets and things like that, don't get into that. Use the practice account, trade small, and small days do compound for sure. Uh, Somebody said if you were going to be a doctor, started in November. If you said, "Okay, I'm good enough to do, I learned enough to do surgery now," uh, that patient might not survive. So let's get into the markets here, Coach.
Well, I won't be asking for any surgery from you, coach.
Yeah, no, no,
Yeah,
definitely
that's
not,
true.
definitely not.
Great point.
All right, Coach. I got a 30-minute chart up here on the S&P. What are we looking at here, or do we want to go out to a daily?
Well, let's start at the daily. It's the way that this is the process I look at every day because I want to. Okay, what did we hear? We're under the 20, under the 50. We've known that. We've been that way for over a week now. But what's that white line, coach?
The 200 daily moving average.
And watch. Let's go blow it out a little bit, and to see what happens when we touch the 200-day moving average.
Usually a
We
spot where we
rally.
find some buyers.
No, yeah, we find some buyers, but we can't spend a lot of time here. We spend a lot of time here. We're not getting the long-term buying. Oh, by the way, Warren Buffett is sitting on how much? Coach Hoop was it 350 with the billion dollars sitting on the sidelines, and he's an investor. He's not buying it here. Hmm, I don't know. I'm not a great investor. He is. Um, but we're not. We're hanging around here. Um, but it's still a buy over a longer term. But today we did get some buying from last night. So let's go to the half an hour. We'll frame out the first half an hour.
There we go.
Okay, we gapped open. Bill, this, by the way, I'm going to say this. This was not easy trading last night or today. If you have a stubborn streak in you, it can really hurt you in this environment.
Can it?
So I was, was stubborn son of a gun. Um, so my stubbornness now goes into following my trading process. Um, so actually I lost money last night. I think on my combine I lost $250 trading micros last night. I stopped. So, well, just gonna. So, why did I lose it? We had a breakout early. It didn't get to a 2-to-1. Came back, it went above, and I got stopped out at the high. Okay, I lost money, lost well. I was, I, I wasn't upset about it. I wasn't happy about it. It's just the way it is. But we'll look at that flow. Uh, What is that kind of flow?
Uh,
Turbulence,
yeah.
right? So, starting off, what did you see from that last night?
Uh, Consolidation. The market's really not making a decision about direction. Where it looked like we wanted to sell, maybe. when we were doing slow markets, I talked about the potential for both sides, really, a push to the upside, a push to the downside. But last night didn't really do too much. And I think where we were kind of opening with that gap, markets were in a weird spot, right? We had that huge spike to end the day on Friday, and then we have 6,000 in the S&Ps right above here. So if we're going to continue moving up, right, this huge spike on Friday felt a lot more like short covering than uh, longs getting in, right? This was the last day of the month. Um, so, we've been under this heavy sell pressure. I did want to buy it, but 6,000 being right there, cautiously wanting to buy it.
Okay, now light volume over weekend with Bitcoin going back to $700 million. Um, but something aborted that mission. But let's just forget about all the talk and the headlines. Let's see the action. So let's go back to the Coach J 3 minute.
3 minute opening range from the New York session open. My AirPods died. 3 minute opening range here. Uh, Purple box. We attach a VWAP there.
Okay. Now, took 10 minutes to break out of that range.
Yep.
And if we just, what's the shape of the VWAP?
It's like a ski
Pointing
slope.
down. Yeah. Even if we just go over the first, we know what's going to happen. Let's just see how it looks. All right. Then we got some information. First candle was buying. There was the biggest volume.
Yep.
Now, we 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 wick over that high. I mean, at the second candle looked good. I mean, it looked like it. But what did VWAP do?
Go the opposite direction.
And that's a selling candle, and it's high volume. But we break out of the range. VWAP sloping down. What is the in the decision making? What is the flow?
All sell side.
Is is it worth taking two ATRs risk? Well, what's the ATR? I believe the ATR, it was kind of big. It was like
It's about 6 points. Yeah, 6 points on the S&P.
six. So 12 points. $600 on a mini. $60 on a micro. Okay, let's do two. I'll risk 120. It doesn't make a new high. Do I know? Yeah, I do now at the time. But why why am I favoring a sell? Well,
Everything else is telling you to sell, right? There's not a,
I'm
not a convinced buyer.
is it called the old term was reading the tape,
Yep.
and VWAP does it for you, right?
Yeah, it really does.
So do it. No, actually, I played around with this. I broke out the on the 1 minute. I did a breakout. Just bought it off the 1 minute. Oh, look good. I put a two ATR stop
Okay. So yeah, so here on that 1 minute, yeah, you get a breakout here. 1 minute opening range.
in the time frame, and look, VWAP's trending up. Different time set.
You got your 2 to 1.
2 to 1. I didn't take it. It was too quick. 1 minute. By the way, I'm looking at a bunch of other markets. I came back and I'm like, what happened? This is beautiful. I can do this every day. The 1 minute chart, right? I put a stop in at new lows and lost like a little bit of money.
Nice.
But I was on a streak from last night to today. But outs on the 1 minute, you have to trade the. Now, in the 1 minute, what happened? Well, the VWAP turned around.
Yep.
Um, am I glad I got out? I could have stopped there. But let's go to a different time set of three, or let's go to the 5 minute. We don't talk about a lot of people trade the 5 minute. It's not bad. I mean, there's no good or bad, but just understand.
Look at the
Actually,
5. Go ahead.
What happened after the first 5 minutes? Bad buying. I was one of them. Why do I say it was bad buying? It's a buying candle in VWAP, and then immediately into the next candle turned down with a selling candle that broke out of the opening range.
This is like the perfect time. I don't know that I saw this in real time.
Yeah, it's hard. Two
I don't know that I
things.
saw that.
Yeah. Well, this is in the 5 minute. So pick pick a side, but pick a time frame.
Yep.
None of them have all the answers. None of them have all the problems, but it gives you an idea. Like early, like this market's being sold. I don't like fade as
I
a
do sometimes.
yeah. There you go. Where can I fade? Well, we'll look for a 2 minute on a two ATR move away from volume or VWAP, and and see if you find a J trade. And by the way, on a 3 minute, there was a Hall of Fame J trade.
There was a couple of them. Yeah, there was a couple of them.
But
Today was a really good trading day.
there was a lot of opportunity. Um, I traded well and made a little bit of money, but I was down most of the day.
Nice,
Is it? I let winners ride, and the bonds and the 5 year saved my day.
nice,
The end gave me a good swift kick, and the Nasdaq and the S&P gave me after when I started in a hole. Two things. Number one, you're in a hole. I kept the same size. If you're a new trader, one of the temptations is to, well, I got to make that back. All right. So what is the first thing? Well, I'll do a 10. I'll do a mini now. I was doing micros, and okay, don't do that. Just don't give in to the temptation. You have to be consistent in your sizing. Um, and then there was a 2-to-1 trade in Nasdaq, S&P bonds was a little more. But why I'm coming in is okay. I was reading it wrong.
hmm
Um, but that one on a 5 minute, I'm like, oh, I can do another micro. It'll cost me less, about $100. If I lost it then, I'd be down $300 on that. It's a $3,000 account. Actually, it's a $4,000 account. I'm cutting it off at 10 to 12. If I lost again, I'm down $400, 350. Okay, I'm done for the day.
yep.
But that ended up being a 2-to-1 trade. Um, I didn't make big money. I got on the right side.
Right.
Our expectations sometimes I got to make anything. I got to make big money. Big money. No whammies. What was that game show? No whammies.
Oh yeah. What was that? Press your luck.
Press your luck. Yeah, no whammies. Well,
You try to play too big, you're gonna get a whammy.
yeah.
Uh, eventually.
And I'll hand it off to you, Coach.
Awesome. But yeah, really nice sell off. I think my first trade was a short. First trade in the S and P's was a short at 59.53. Uh, kind of late to this move, to be honest with you. Right. We were already two ATRs on a 3 minute chart away from volume by the time I took this trade. Um, so if you watch the way I manage this one, it's just like I this market needs to go. I actually took it after this candle here. So again, baiting the J trade, but I saw some volume that got traded up here at 59.55. We kind of checked back up to there and looked at 53s. I took a short looking for continuation and we didn't get it, right? Sometimes we're going to make a read and it's the wrong read. But if I held on to this trade and said, no, this has to be right, at some point there was a 20-point drawdown. Can I afford a 20-point drawdown? Do I want to take a 20-point drawdown? Definitely not. I was right about the direction, wrong on the timing. So I had to get out of this trade. I'm very conscious of that because I did have a good day today, but it did not have to be a good day if I didn't listen to what the market was saying. Um, and I was late to that sell, right? So I have to take profits or manage the position as I see fit and go from there. On the bounce back, I don't even actually remember where I got short again. Uh, Whatever. The market sold off, right? The market sold off the rest of the day. I don't even know if it really matters. I got short. The play was the short for the entire day, but location on that short mattered. Now, there's a couple examples. I know some people took the long here off of this J trade, which is really nice, right? Here's highest volume of the day at that time. We don't know the markets are going to continue to sell off, and that's higher volume than the open. If you took a long off of there, it's a great trade, right? You got your 2-to-1 coach. There's 30 points to the upside here, but the markets overall are in this. Go back to a
I'll
three
put the
minute.
200 up.
Put the 200 up. Oh yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that in a second. But the markets overall were in this downtrend, right? So, to me, it was about finding where that flow was and getting in it. Let's go to the 200 on the 30 minute. That was
Now, here's yeah. Part of it didn't. Now we have that base of the late spike, right? It came up to the 200. We talked about this. We're playing with the 200. There was there was buying last night. There was buying early this morning, but it was lower than average opening volume. Really, I mean, it wasn't convinced buying. It needed to go and keep going.
yep,
Um, but the inch right on the first half an hour, we settled back underneath the 200. That's not that's not convinced buyers. That doesn't mean it can't go and turn around. But buying volume didn't show up. Now it did the second candle in the half hour.
yep. Right off of 50% of that late spike, that half an hour spike, right off of there, right? That's a good trade. A good trade. You got the market direction completely wrong. And I just want to remind everybody, you do not have to get the direction of the market right for the day. That's an economist's job, and they get it wrong all the time. Um, we got to get a trade
Yes.
right. Right. We have to get a trade right at the end of the day, right? Whether it's to the upside, to the downside, and is it easier if you get in the flow of the markets and sell it? Yeah, because the markets do your job for you, where I might not have to work so hard. But if your trade setup said take a long off this 50% right here, that could be your one trade for the day, and I don't even care what happens after the fact because I manage my risk. Um,
I love that comment, Coach, about economists.
yeah,
I my professor in college said, "What do you get when you get put 100 economists in a room?" I said, 101 different opinions. So let that sink in a little bit about trading. Don't
yep,
trade your opinion, trade your process.
yeah.
Don't trade my opinion. You might not even want to trade my process. I'm not advising anyone, but know your process.
Know your process for sure. The highest volume candle of the day was pretty sure it was tariff news. It looked pretty heavy up until that point, with some really nice continuation volume, right? So one thing that we've been talking about, is the volume sustainable? Once we started this move to the downside, and this is where I was in short and just kind of holding the position as long as we saw sustainable volume down into 5900s. I actually remember where I got short now. I was short from 59.33. Again, kind of late to this move, but looking for a break under the low for the day at that point, right? Where we had this previous highest volume candle. I, see the market kind of selling off into here, seeing volume kind of pick up. I got comfortable with a short 59.33. Stop was 10 points because that volume was building, right? So I got short two as we broke, added to the position, went to break even, and said, as long as we get this continuation volume, I'm just going to manage this position as I see fit, right? So I'm taking one off and just trying to hold down to that 5,900 and the entire time being conscious of this potential exhaustion volume. Because no matter where I got short from, if I see this, I'm getting the F out of that trade because of how often we know that that can be the reversal. So At this point, if I don't get completely out of it, I have to think position management, and there's no way I'm letting this trade turn back into a loser because this had the potential to be the low for the day. Now, when we frame that candle out and attach VWAP to it, again, this was a comment. This was the tariff comment for the day, right? Tariffs go into effect tomorrow. Um, this candle gives us an opportunity for another trade. If we attach VWAP to that, coach, it's a flat line for the most part. What does that tell us? Fade the extremes of that range, and that's a pretty big range, right? 50,000 contracts traded in that 3 minute candle. Decent range opportunity. Didn't give us a test of the lows, but it gave us a test of the highs in a downtrending market. That's a nice opportunity to short. Do I know that we're going to sell off another 100 points or whatever we sold off here? No, but the conservative price target would be the low of that candle. And what did we get when we got to that low?
Mm, mm. What is that?
More continuation volume.
Nice.
Shout out to Boomer Brian, who took this trade right here. Something I kind of want to start talking about, Coach. We talk about the same things all the time. Uh, the How do you build probabilities for your trades, right? How many factors attribute to the probability of your trade working out? And this trade right here, we were talking about it in the Coach J chat. I would say this is an 85% probability trade right here, right? Maybe even a 90% probability. And why? We had a market that was in a downtrend. We had this high volume. We have another high volume candle that sells through there, right? Breaks this low, and it traded below that 5,900 major cycle level with some serious volume. That
Well,
5,900 also ended up being right at 50% of that high volume. That's a when I'm comfortable max allocation trade.
you, well put. I look at that, I see Niagara Falls.
Yep.
We have that, but that that high volume buying, and we don't see this too often. We usually see exhausted selling. This that high volume, that buying candle to start, that was it was that was like that on the 1 minute also.
Mm,
So all that buying did what?
got stuck.
Ma- Got stuck. I think all the kings. So now it left the range. VWAP didn't, but those buyers are whatever buying that was for whatever reason. I don't even care. I don't want to know the reason.
Right.
But what happened when we closed underneath? We didn't even break that low. I actually had to stop in a one micro for this helped
Oh,
my day
nice.
because I couldn't believe when I saw it. I'm like, is that what is there something? Is it the close? I literally looked around. I went, did market
What's
just
happening?
close?
Right.
Was I taking a nap? Well, what happened? But look what happens when it closes. And you just said it goes that all those buyers are underwater.
Yeah. If they were buying
And
to open, they are, yeah.
and it, that's the middle of the day. Whatever the reason was, does it as a trader, does it matter? It's the output that you really care about. Well, they did get above it,
Yeah, they did. Price wise, they did.
but that's where I go in is like two ATRs. Give me then I'm wrong. Oh, wait, that's a lot of money. No, yeah, it can be, but you don't have to trade minis. You could trade two or three micros. Um, anyway, it was confirmed on that breakout. And let's just say this was the open again, right? You could just
Yeah,
say
right?
let's go with the same process. What did VWAP do? It was going
Stayed flat.
sideways when it made low, and you can see it from that volume, that selling volume. That's not a J trade, right?
It's a
That's
continuation.
a continuation. Why? That selling held. Buying was the next candle that didn't hold. Think of volume hasn't is going higher on the sell side. And boy, did
Yep.
it.
Yeah. Just a really nice sell. And after that, consistent above average volume for the rest of the session. right? When you see this type of volume, and I'm going to sound like a hypocrite here because I didn't trade it, but the goal is when I see this type of consistent volume, right? And remember, we anytime we see an anomaly in volume, we got to question whether or not that's sustainable. When the volume is this sustainable, what this is telling you is there is no reason to get out of that trade. Uh, it's consistently pulling that VWAP lower, coach. We talk a lot about, and you and I have talked in the past about trade management. You know, how do you capture most of the move? Is what the market telling you uh, enough for you to say, "Hey, close above VWAP and I'm out," right? And that's where, for me, that's what the goal is, to kind of take this trade. If the market is saying that the flow is going to continue, I don't want to jump off the train. Um, maybe not with a full position size, but that's the goal to try to catch a move like this because the market is telling us that that's what's possible, right? So really nice bounce into the close, off of that 200 moving average on the daily, and but that was kind of like a stick save by the buyers there. We had a lot of if we had a daily, we already got a daily close under the 200 moving average on the Nasdaq. We looked like we were going to have one in the S and P's right until
Final
close, but
minutes.
the Nasdaq's a lot heavier. Anything else you got on the equities, coach? Before we move on,
Um, no, that's all I have.
awesome stuff. All right, where do we want to go from here? Your call, coach.
I really want to go to Bitcoin.
Let's
Oh,
do it.
okay, let's start with the daily.
Micro Bitcoin.
All right.
So we did have
Uh,
some news before we get to the charts. We did have some news over the weekend. The president talking about a crypto reserve, including Bitcoin, Solana, Cardano, and Ethereum, and that's kind of what gave us a spike overnight or over the weekend in crypto prices. But we trade the futures here. What are you seeing in the futures chart, coach?
well, Friday we talked, bounced off the 200 moving average. Without today's, I found it interesting. Make this announcement on a Sunday morning. I know why I bring that up is the futures market is bringing liquidity to the Bitcoin. All
Yep.
right. Now let's look at the half hour. Now I didn't buy this off that 200 on a swing. I didn't want, even though it gapped open like that,
Hmm.
I didn't want the risk over the weekend. Flip a coin, that could have gone the other way. Now there was favorable to the buying, but why? That doesn't matter. I wasn't willing to take the risk, and I have no regret I didn't take it. Really, none.
Yeah.
Was it 9,000 higher?
Yeah. Yep.
It's like a $900 trade. Okay, I wasn't willing to take the risk. I'm not going back. Going, oh fuck, I could have done 10. No.
Right.
Now, here's what I'm saying about liquidity. Futures opened up. What's the high of the day?
95,750
When was that made?
on the open.
Okay. Liquidity. Now, because Bitcoin is leveraged, Bitcoin futures, you can't sell uh, Bitcoin easily. I mean, you can't short it easily.
Right.
You can't just go to, wh- any platform that's trading Bitcoin and go, "No, this is too this is priced too much. I want to sell it." You got to do a lot of different things. It's not easy. But us future traders that can hit that red button, sell. And what happened as soon as that could happen? We made the high.
Yep.
Now I can't sell it because it's above the 200-day moving average. I don't want to. I could. Once again, I just said this. I don't want to be involved in this market right now. Now, but analyzing it on a day trading point of view, what did we make? We made the high, but it just hit me like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
When could selling come in?
As soon as the market opens.
When the futures opened up.
Yep.
and it did, and we left early. That was a now, okay, maybe in hindsight here, because I was really busy with a lot of different things today. That was a classic sell. Like, eh, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's a classic sell. I actually talked about this trade during slow markets last night, and I was potentially looking to buy it. I'm very happy that I didn't, because I said, there's no this gap doesn't have to fill because we're trading a product that doesn't trade 24/7. I was dead ass wrong. Right, it closed the gap. Um, I was surprised at this move, to be honest with you. But what the signal told us to sell it, right? From for what we look at here, and it was a sell the entire day.
yeah. So the flow, the order flow, Vash, is right there. VWAP. It's right there.
Yep. Yeah.
It's more than price. You are correct. It's more than moving averages suck if you don't know how to use them. Anything sucks if you don't know how to use them.
Yep.
It's an indicator. Make a
Yeah.
trading plan. If so, like I said, I
All
didn't want
all
to
we
take
do is
this
read order
trade.
flow, by the way. Go ahead, coach.
I don't want to take this trade. I didn't want the risk. Matter of fact, I was in the bonds, um, losing money well in Nasdaq and S&P. Um, I was willing to take that risk. So whatever you're using, just define your risk. Be willing to take it. If you completely accept the risk, then put it on. There's large hedge funds that are made billionaires from trading off the 200-day moving average, by the way. And I'm not defending it. If you don't like it, don't use it. I don't just, but understand that institutions use it.
Yep.
And if you don't like it, don't trade it. I agree. Heck, you could just read the tape or some people read the Dom. I can't. It's just too much action going on. I know it doesn't fit my personality. But
Yeah.
if go with what works for you. And I'm done preaching. I'll
It's
give it off to you, coach.
it's okay. I'm not gonna piggyback on it. You said enough. Any indicator is crappy if you don't know how to use it, right? And you know, we could just sit here for the next 20 minutes looking at this white line on 30-minute charts and seeing how it presented opportunities. Here it is in crude oil. Once we close below it, really nice sell off. Uh, Here it is in the Nasdaq. Acted as a resistance. Really nice sell off. This shitty 200 moving average just not presenting any opportunities anywhere. Maybe we take a look at gold. Did it present an opportunity in gold? That's actually where I got out of my long in gold because of that 200 moving average. Really nice sell off also. Um, and then if we combine it with the order flow, it's a great trade. Uh, any others? Let's see. Uh, you know, no offense taken at all.
No, absolutely.
No offense taken at all.
No, it's not absolutely. I'm glad you actually brought that up.
Yeah.
I mean, I really mean this. That's why I go back to trade your process. This is a process that we look at. And we bring different coaches with different processes. Um, maybe we'll bring up a trader with it process. But the most important thing is define your process and follow it. So um, you don't have candles on your chart, pure market profile trade. Excellent.
Yep.
By the way, market profile was brought up in market profile by the man himself, Peter Stottlemyre. Very valuable. So,
Yep.
uh, but you know, this is how we define the flow. It doesn't make it right for you or anyone. By the way, it's part of our saying. This is not advice, trading trading advice. It's just review.
At all. Just review. All right. Speaking of review, let's review the gold market. Gold market, been a market that's been under some sell pressure since the 29.75 area. We've been under that 200 moving average on the 30-minute chart that we've talked about. It's been a nice sell. Any kind of checks up towards this 50 moving average, which is the purple one. But as we get down here to 28.50s, maybe on a daily, I think we are. eh, Not really so much, but I got long gold today. Just on why did I get long here? 'Cause the market was going up. Let's look at the 3-minute opening range for gold. The target on this trade was that 200 moving average on the 30-minute chart, where I felt, coming into this gold was kind of oversold, um, and maybe a potential relief bounce up to that 2,900. Uh, I got long at 80. Okay, so we had this high volume here. Trying to remember exactly what this trade was. Uh, we had this kind of high volume spike right here. I got long right around 50% of this, right around 88.6 was my entry. The stop on this trade was below this high volume, and we did have news coming out. You might have seen that I held the trade on Topstep TV. I was 100% okay with what the risk was, and I might have saw a little bit of slippage if the news decided to sell kind of through it. Like I said, I got short at 50%. Sorry, I got long at 50%. Stop below this low. Uh, and news or not, I was comfortable with that risk. See, I got to within 2 points of my risk. Didn't hit it. That was a nice opportunity to maybe add to that trade. This is where I'm supposed to add max allocation, coach. When I get 2 points within my stop, I got another lease on life, and then trade it back up to the highs, but wasn't really willing
Wow.
to do that.
Well, that
And
was a wick too.
right,
That's called nervousness. Wow, nice trade.
After this point, once the news is done, I'm looking for the market to now close above that news candle high to give me some confidence in this trade, and then just trade right back up to that white line up there, that 200 moving average on the 30-minute chart. Was happy to take profits around there, as we can see. The market really didn't see any convinced buyers above that 200 moving average yet. We came right back down towards where my original entry was and bounced there again. Uh, wow, I didn't. I'm just looking at this right now. This was the close. This was after gold closed, but still
It's a
sometimes
day
still.
trade.
Yeah, it is. Pretty
Okay,
nice right there.
just hold on. Time out.
Hmm.
I just ha there's plenty of opportunities.
Yeah,
If you're struggling in one market, maybe it's not you, it's me. Right? Well,
right.
you might find another one. There might be opportunities somewhere else. Okay, I'm done with my timeout.
All right, there we go. Uh, yeah, there's a ton of opportunity out here. Really a ton of it. Going forward with gold, we are back above that 200 moving average on the 30-minute chart. The 20 and the 50 look like they want to cross as well. I know, we all know that gold has been in this higher time frame uptrend, going back almost 2 years now. And was this just a minor pullback before the run up to 3,000? We still got to cross back above that 20 moving average on the daily, which is at 29.18 right now. But I'm bullish gold. I'm bullish gold until it gives me a reason not to be. Of course, I want to see that 2,900 act as a support. It has so far, but we'll see, what the market brings tomorrow.
I have that on my watch list tonight. First half an hour that has, to me, a possibility of ripping higher.
Yeah.
But I'll look for the first half an hour, attach a VWAP, see if we get some urgency.
Yep.
Um, Good opportunity.
Linus Rain asks, why am I framing the green one when the red two prior is larger volume? Great question. I'm looking at these two candles here as uh, continuation volume, right? This one here Before that candle printed, we were kind of just chilling out, right? So I could frame that one out. And if I was to take a trade here, seeing this, right? This is continuation. This is a short. This is a short, right? And risk would be above the high. Do we get continuation volume? That's a short so far. Then we get high volume at that low into an area that we've tested before. Now, at this point, I'm doing this with all these candles pretty much, right? Um, I would really, and coach, we've talked about this, right? Just keep attaching. It might look
Keep
crazy, but keep attaching VWAPs until the market closes above them. Uh, so that's how I'm looking at this, right? This one ended up being the low, testing that 50% area here. So now we'll frame this one out and see how the market responds to there, right? Which one of these does it close above is what I'm looking for.
eh, boy, that's a good question. Attaching that, or you had continuation volume. So to have a J trade, right? It's got to break at least the high of that high volume,
Right.
or there's more volume, but it hasn't. The biggest volume didn't make a new low. That's what continuation means. But when we find buying, because it's buyers versus sellers, it would sound like a crass. It's buyers versus sellers at its core. Now, buying came in with decent volume.
Hmm.
All right. And you can wait for the highest volume to be taken out. I'm a little aggressive. Um, I just want to be, once I see that buying, all right, where's the VWAP from the biggest selling? So you had it up there before. All right. Now, if it gets above that VWAP, I'm being aggressive.
Hmm.
Now, true J trade is wait for it to break the high of the highest volume. You can do that. And that was a 2-to-1 trade.
Up here.
Yeah. Whatever
Yeah.
fits your risk profile, your personality profile. Now, that was late in the day, too.
Yep.
Now, let's go back and think. This is down, was down 100, and S&Ps were down. This is gold. And
Yeah.
but wow, that's even more important. That was on the close.
Yeah.
The
At this
gold.
point, gold was already closed, right? Gold closed. Let me go to a 5 minute chart so we can see this a little more cleanly. Gold closed right here, right? So we've talked about this trade a couple of times where this was a decent short after the gold close, you know, and this was, and now if we look at it this way, right, this is that exhaustion move
Yep.
from that gold close.
Interesting. I also like putting in the pincher trade on there. Put a VWAP on the lowest candle because that's buying.
Here.
Yeah, that one right there. In the present. There's the pinch. It's holding those. That's buying. Literally computerized buying.
Yeah.
That's an algo. I'm going to get out there and say I'm 80% certain that's an algo.
Gold closing on
Why
its
not 100?
highs. Closing on its highs. I am bullish gold. I might be looking to buy this either in slow markets or when we kind of open up for Globex, but I'm bullish here. Claude says it's hard to believe this is for free. All it's going to cost you is a like. So if you haven't done so
Yeah,
already,
yeah.
hit that thumbs up. Tell your friends and family to subscribe. Uh, we are just here to provide information, and not to say that we're always right. I get it wrong a lot on this XFA I've been trading. I think my win rate on this one is actually kind of high. It's at 60%, but get it wrong a lot. So uh, we don't have all the answers.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, right there, Coach Vince, thank you. And we're talking about market profile, pro, and volume profile. There's a guy who's a master of that.
Yep.
Him and I will trade differently, but Coach Vince has his number one eye is on risk management. So just this, there is no. We're not going to profess there's a magic. There are no secrets.
Your risk. That's the secret.
If there is one, that's it. So
Uh,
Oh,
let's we got about 5 minutes left, unless we go right into Coach Hoop. We got a question about the bonds, Coach. I know you look at those often.
yeah.
Let me just go through crude oil real quick. Really not much to say here. Crude was kind of just we've been in a downtrend. I've been bullish. I've been reading crude all wrong, so I've kind of just been staying away from this chart. Um, I've been looking to buy it, and I remember Anne Marie about a month ago. She said, "Just know that the fundamental news in crude oil is bearish." And for whatever reason, I keep thinking about that, and it's been keeping me out of buys. But from a technical perspective, I'm just like, I want to buy it. We're at the low of this range, and I've been dead ass wrong. And it has not cost me any money. So I'm happy about that. But it could, because crude is just selling off, and today's a perfect example. It just kept selling off.
It didn't do it easy.
No.
There's an old country and western song, "By Way of Omaha." That's Charlie Daniels, actually. Yeah, that's the way it's. I missed that. I saw that. I don't care. I'm not trading crude right now.
There we go. Let's move on. Let's go to the bonds, Coach. We want to go to the 30, 10 year.
Yeah, let's go to the 30. Only because we could go to the 10-year, but I'm
Oh,
I
wow.
spent a lot of time in the 30-year. Yeah.
The,
Oh wow.
the white line does it again. Would you look at that? Would you look at that?
Okay, let's say you don't want to buy that. Oh, put a VWAP. There you go. Now let's hide the those troublesome candles. I hate candles. I hate bars. I like. Okay, does that help?
Yeah. I mean, buy it.
Okay, but let's look at seriously. There was a great opportunity to buy it last night. Or I mean, off that 200. I think
Yeah.
that was last night. It was,
This
yeah.
is 7 a.m. Central Time
All
in
right,
the
even
morning.
better.
Yeah.
Um, Now if we break that down into knowing that, let's look at the 5-minute chart.
Coach, question for you real quick before we go to a 5 minute.
Hmm?
When you're trading treasury products, do you look at the overnight price action much?
It's all baked into putting. No, I don't specifically look at it.
Okay.
I look at the composite. It could
Yeah.
come at night, but the volume. If I'm making day trading decisions, and
Hmm.
and this is day trading because I the night session the volume is so insignificant
Yeah.
that wait for the
Oh,
opening.
even more so than the equities. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Anytime I'm trading these, I kind of try to cut out the overnight price action. All right, but let's go down to a 5 minute.
All right. Let's see where. And by the way, it's 7:20. It was the official opening on the floor. So let's just use the 7:20 opening. Okay.
A nice trade. Have these been doing this, and we've just been kind of ignoring them? Uh,
There's so much opportunity, coach.
Almost too much.
I don't. I whatever. If you have something that's valuable, it's going to work in just about any market. You just have to frame out how much your risk is, or and it is, and the contract itself. This is a money contract. I mean, $500 can happen real quick.
Yeah,
Well, let's look at okay. We used to say that on Discord. Let's look at the 10-year. It's going to be about the same as the 30-year with a little less risk.
about the same. Looking at that open. Here's the open here. First 30 minutes at 7 a.m. Central Time, and this is just a nice looking chart here.
Let's look at the day. 200. Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting.
Um. Yeah. Bonds too are right there. I think the 5 years. They haven't been there for a long time. Yeah, it's interesting. What when's FOMC? 3 weeks?
Good question. Good question. Fed Watch. Let's take a look. 15 days. 15
Okay.
days.
So that's money. Look at that rally we've had since last week. Now, that's a someone might tag that with a flight to safety. I don't know. What we do know is there was definitely buying. Go with the buyers. They're in control in the short term. Now, in the long term, if this catches, we could have a really okay. I want to make you do a trend line, and the easiest way to do it is put on a line chart.
I think I got you. Is it this here? So we're looking at?
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Now, trend traders, you'll know this one. Yeah, they've been long.
Mm,
If you watch trend lines are awesome too if you know how to use them. I used to use them by hand. And okay, a Dorito, whatever. There you go. But this buying started off wow, that trend line has been around since what, October?
September. This high is September 12th.
Okay. So, yeah, wow. I don't know. I own the calls. I don't watch on a swing trade. I don't talk about swing trading here. It doesn't do you any good. But the principles are still the same.
Yep.
That's why you'll hear me. If I get a 2 to 1 in a day trade and I've had to adjust because I really like getting 6, 8, 10 to 1.
Yeah.
How many times you going to get that in a day trade? And when you're just playing for that, you're gonna get it disappointed a lot.
Yep.
2 to 1 is there. That's your time frame. So
2 to 1,
anyway, there was
and I'll keep saying this: 2 to 1 with risk reasonable to how the market's trading, right? You're 2 to 1, coach, and I'll say this time and time again. Sometimes traders might look at a 2 to 1 and say, "Hey, that's too small," but they're risking, 5 points on the Nasdaq, and a 2 to 1
ah,
at that point would be 10 points. Coach Paul is saying a 2 to 1 with a two ATR risk, which is a pretty wide stop if we think about it dollar wise, but it's allowing the market to do whatever natural fluctuations it's going to do. I'm going to go to the ES real quick, and then we're going to do some rapid fire questions. We got a couple, but let's just take the ES for example. On a 3 minute chart, the ATR is 9 points at this time of day. With Coach Paul's suggestion, that's an 18-point stop, which sounds like a lot. And it is if you're over leveraged. But on the reward side, he's talking about 36 points, which you get a 2 to 1 right here, which is a great trade. Um, right. So he's not talking 2 to 1 with a
ah,
4 point stop in the S&Ps. Right. These are pretty big trades. And again, that two ATR stop, if you can find a way to use that two ATR stop and truly be comfortable with the risk and still need, you still need good trade location and things like that. Uh, if there was a suggestion that I could give to new traders right now, it would be that find a way to trade with a two ATR stop on whatever time frame you trade on. That would be my one suggestion. It's going to uh, force you to zoom out a little bit. It's going to you're probably going to have to wait a little longer for profits on your trades, but I think it's kind of built in patience and risk acceptance, where you're truly trading the price action that the market is saying, and not, hey, I'm trying to fit the entire market into my account. It's never going to work. Uh, you have to apply your account to what the market is saying, and that would be my suggestion. Whatever time frame you trade on, that you make your trade entry decisions. Say it's a 5 minute chart. Find what that ATR value is, multiply it by two, and that's your stop for your trades. And look for a 2 to 1 on those trades. That would be my advice. Strategy outside, whatever strategy you want to use, that would be my position management suggestion. And shout out to you for that, Coach Ball, because that's all you.
boy, you explained that perfectly. I forget about that. That's when I talk 2 to 1. That's what I'm talking about.
Yep.
And it's I learned my aunt was an accountant, old school. She taught me accounting principles and about budgeting and risk budgeting.
Yeah.
And she used to say, you can't have champagne dreams on a 6 pack budget. So what does that mean? I want to only risk 5, but I want to make 20. Well,
Right.
okay, I do too, but is the market giving you the opportunity? Yeah, that's what you have to match the speed of the market, the internals. For any mechanics out there, you would know this better than I do. When you're tuning an engine, it has to be in a flux,
Mm,
right? It has to be together, in tune. Um, Taking just the static risk, like I only want to risk 5 ticks, but I want to make 20. If you're going to find out you're going to get stopped out a lot unless you hit the perfect place, and that could be abstinence. So that's when we talk about measuring risk. Thanks for bringing that up, Coach. I don't
for
think I
sure.
bring it up enough.
I don't think we do. All right, we could either call it now or we got 10 minutes, but we got some questions here. Let's do some rapid fire through these questions and we'll get out of here from now. So Elvis says, is there a relative volume on ES, for example, to identify a high volume bar after the New York Open? So that is going to depend on the day. We know some days can trade higher volume than others, and that is why I will always use a the volume moving average with this volume indicator here. Um, some of the traders that are in our chat right now were in the Coach J chat, and we were when we were, talking about this short here, right? We got to think about the volume that traded for the day. Now, the morning session, that first hour, is always going to be higher volume, right? So we can get a general idea of what the market's doing for the day. Sometimes this is going to be, 12,000 contracts. Sometimes it's going to be what it was today, 25,000. Um, so now if I'm thinking for today, you could use the relative volume indicator. I don't think there is one on TopstepX, but for something to be an anomaly today, it had to be at least 25,000 later in the day. We always know that, in the afternoon, it's going to be lower volume on average. So at this point where I'm seeing this continuation volume, Boomer Brian's actually in the chat and he said, would you consider this candle here, right? This one we got at 1227. Would you consider that an anomaly? Coach, would you consider this candle an anomaly just looking at it based on what we're seeing here?
No, visually, well, you brought up a great point. There's a high of the average volume. 20 was at 25,000. Got to
Right.
be at least over that, at
Exactly.
least.
Exactly.
It,
So,
after a while, it will stand out to you.
yep.
The middle finger.
So what we said here was, this isn't an anomaly because it looks like just continuation volume, right? We had sustainability for 20 minutes here. A little bit of a dip, that's okay, right? If we get back to that, sustainable number, then at this point I'm looking for something 25K or above. And actually in the chat I said 30K, right? 30K would be an anomaly. Do we get an anomaly? Oh shit, what's that?
Yeah.
That sticks out, right? So that's how I do that math.
And also, that was the highest volume of the day.
Twice
It- it-
the average, 3 times the average.
So let's throw everything out. That's the opening. Well, let's start again. How was that? How was that big volume? How is it going to be traded out? And then we've gone through this, and we don't have to go there. Okay,
Yep.
it's,
Yeah.
it's a new allocation. It's a new auction process. However you want to think about it, but that's important. Is the biggest thing I've learned in working with Coach Jay. I off in the floor, I could hear that literally volume.
Hmm.
You hear this roar of activity in any trading room, like in a bond room, it was deafening. And all of a sudden, just got quiet.
Yep.
We just call it the eye, literally eye of the storm, um, because you could hear it. Because why? What happened? The buying, that big buying, there was yelling by filling brokers
Right.
and responding from the local traders back and forth. And the more volume came in, the higher literally the decibels became. But this is what the beauty of the trade is. Once that stops, now I'm going to find out what's real and what's not. In
Yep.
this case, I look, we broke that low. Even if I broke the high, if I thought it was going to go, all right, where am I wrong? Well, the full wrong is that range or a close below VWAP. Those two things for me.
Yep. Trader Mike, do I have any videos on my strategy? There's some videos in the coach's library. They're almost a year and a half old now, but some of the same concepts that we talk about today, which I actually watched those uh, last weekend, just trying to see what we could update there. And honestly, it's not a whole lot. I've been doing the same thing for a couple of years now. But as far as strategy goes, I would, just watch. Honestly, you could pick up any at the buzzer segment that's been on YouTube for the past 7 months, and it's been the same concepts the entire time. Maybe we've gotten a little bit better at explaining it over the last couple months, I think, Coach, and just refining it. But it's been the same thing.
As a matter of fact, we have to do. Someone asked about ATR. We'll focus on explaining that a little, or I will.
Yeah. Dante's asking for the calculations on ATR. Uh,
Don't have to calculate. Look at the bottom. It's just taking the last 14 ranges and in summation and giving an average.
yep.
It's really quite that simple.
The yeah, that's it. The range high to low of the last 14 candles, and then taking that number. But Coach, anytime you think about ATR, are you doing any advanced calculus in your head?
Event calculus, yeah. Is it night?
Advanced calculus.
Oh, yes. It's yeah. The only calculus I do is that what's times two.
Yep, that's it. Take this
That's
value
about as
down here.
advanced.
Oh, maybe you can't see it because hiding it. That's why. You guys see now this value up here, this ATR. It's right here on the charts. Anytime I hover over a candle, it's giving me what one ATR is. Now, my job is just to multiply that number by 2. And I just realized that on the stream that I'm sitting right in front of what that ATR value is. So you might not have been seeing it. My bad. But it's right there on the indicator. Right. Uh, we are at time. Coach, you got anything before we go?
Um, let's have. Just review what you need to what you've learned today, if you've learned anything. Um, and then if you have any questions, bring them again tomorrow. We get a lot of questions. We don't just blow certain questions off because we don't want to answer them. There's a lot in a short period of time. If you need clarification of things, um, please bring those questions tomorrow.
Trade well, manage your risk. I'm going to go get something to eat, and then I will see you all for slow markets. Filling in for Dakota tonight. And we'll talk to you then.
Uh,
Thanks for joining. Hit that thumbs up, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you. Bye.